Hi, we've teamed up with UK Auto Claims to see if you could be eligible to score thousands in compensation. If you've had any cars, vans or motorbikes on finance between 2007 and 2021, go to ukautoclaims.co.uk to start your free simple check. Loads of you will have overpaid and payouts could be worth thousands, so you've got to look into it. Hit up the link below and check now for free.
Hi everyone, I'm with James. Very disappointing night. Just seen Arsenal go out of the Champions League in the semi-final. 2-1 loss today. James, your initial thoughts?
Oh, I'm gutted, man.
I think that's the sentiment that's going across Box Park, certainly amongst the Arsenal supporters. There were a few PSG supporters in the house, but yeah, definitely disappointing.
Do you know, I was asking myself, I came here believing we could win. I'm like, why? Why did I believe we could win? And I guess quite unapologetically, because I think that's kind of what a lot of football fans do. You know, it's if I really, really, really deep down knew we weren't going through, I wouldn't have come here to watch it. Do you know what I mean? It's just like the things go on in life, but you're a football fan, right? You're desperate to win. You believe you can win. You believe things can happen. You see miracles, you think moments, and you think, well, that could be us. And look, sometimes it has been. Who thought we'd beat Real Madrid 3-0? But ultimately, the chickens come home to roost. Is that the saying? Which essentially everything comes back to get you. You can talk about the excuses. Well, it takes a deflection off Saliba. Well, Saka misses an open goal. Well, we should have scored in the first 5 minutes. Well, Partey makes an error. Hakimi scores. Dembele scores from an unbelievable finish. You can make all the excuses you want. But when after 4 or 5 years are the excuses that are becoming a pattern actually something you need to reflect on yourself? So at what point do you go, maybe the players look exhausted because we don't rotate enough in the season. Maybe we miss loads of chances because we don't have finishers. We don't have forwards. I compared our forwards, Trossard, Martinelli, who the chances typically fall to other forwards who've scored across the semi-finals, and look at their goals and assists output throughout the season. These guys put numbers on the board. Dumfries got 2 goals and 3 assists, I think, against Barcelona across 2 legs. If you look at his stats from wing-back, he gets numbers. So they're used to doing it. So at what point is it not luck? When Rafinha just rifles one into what essentially the roof of the net, bouncing off the goalkeeper, when is that not luck? When is that, no, they've got quality, they can shoot? And that Ruiz goal, he struck it brilliantly. And even if Saliba didn't touch it, at least you're asking a question of Raya. Because apart from the Odegaard moment, which we had, we don't shoot, we don't ask questions, we don't pepper the goal. We have one chance every 10 minutes. And so Mikel Arteta can rightly walk away from that to a degree and go, boys, I coached you, I put you're there, just put it in the back of the net. But then you also go, it's your 5th, 6th full season, you spent 700 million, and your attacking options are Martinelli, who we bought for 8 million and hasn't really progressed for 2 years, Trossard, who's never really cemented a first team place. Okay, Saka's the best of the lot. Marino, who's a central midfielder. Waneri, for whatever reason, you won't give minutes to. And then don't tell me about Jesus and Havertz, because I don't think they make a massive difference. So
I think Havertz might have, but Jesus, on the form that he's been showing in the last year or so, probably not. But anyway, I must say, my overriding thing that I took from the game, and I was actually thinking this before the referee blew the whistle, is that you look at PSG and they're a level above us, I would say. I don't think we're at that level yet. I think the better team won over the 2 legs. They beat us at home, they beat us tonight. We had our moments tonight, especially in the first 15 minutes, but even then we couldn't score.
So that's a really interesting point, because I was just thinking, a level above us, but why? If you talk tactically, we dominated that first half. We can't believe we were 1-0 down. We had the better shot. Or to be fair, they did have 1 or 2 on the break. But, we played brilliant football. We were on top of them. We were pressing brilliantly. We could easily... Listen, we deserve to walk away with more than 1 goal across the 2 legs. I can comfortably say that. But I do agree they're a level above. Why is that? Well, because look at the technical level. Look what Hakimi did on that goal. Look at that forward. Look at the flair, the quality, the excitement. Football ultimately, I think when you see football that's more about safety first, structure, rigidity, you kind of stomach that if it leads you to winning. But when it doesn't, then you've kind of lost all the other things that make football really get you off your feet. And it's the flair, it's the excitement, it's the quick passing. It's watching really, really talented people do things with the football that you go, whoa. I was watching Marcus Thuram yesterday, and I felt embarrassed that I ever really gave Havertz, Jesus and Marino credit for their hold-up play. Because that was hold-up play. Power, touch, like flair, skill, intelligence, movement on and off the ball, attacking channels, and then when there wasn't players to support, bursting past, other players in that calibre, Barcelona at such a high level. I was going, that's the level. And then I'm going, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, that's a really good midfield. And then you watch Pedri, and you watch Vitinha, and you watch Neves, and you watch Barella, and you go, he will start for us. I think Declan Rice is probably the only one who holds his position because he's so unique in what he does. But even then, I think Arsenal's job this summer is to be, and I think we've known this since November, is to be so brutally ruthless, looking at this squad and going, to a degree, when I look at the level of others, I kind of think, to a degree, we're actually a touch, when we challenged for the title last season, we got to the semi-finals this season, I think this group's overachieving, even being there, going toe-to-toe with Man City and being in the semi-final. But then I don't think after 5 years, with the money spent, I can really excuse Arteta for the options he's got and the club in general, because they blew it in January, they didn't do enough in the summer, and over 10 windows, they haven't truly invested in that position. So who's really to blame here? That's the way I view it.
No, you make some excellent points. I've got to ask, because obviously the buck stops with him. There will be questions asked. I just wondered what your take on the manager is tonight. Were you happy with what he put out today? I mean, not in terms of the team, because we all pretty much thought that was the team that was going to play. I've not spoken to anyone who had any gripes about the team, but the in-game management. How do you think he dealt with that today?
For periods of the game, the coaching was there. You could see that they'd been set up well, and listen, we could have been ahead of this tie after 10 minutes. And that is a credit to Arteta and the players to a degree. But then the game swings because PSG learn and Luis Enrique learns, and then they make changes. I think we took a little while to respond, but I never felt like we were really under the cosh. I still felt like, yes, they had chances, but they were always going to. We're always chasing. Now, I didn't mind the subs. I thought Trossard and Calafiori were the right subs. But I really, really had an issue with Waneri not coming on, because Odegaard, who I thought in the first half did okay, got worse and worse and worse as the game went on, and he didn't want to roll the dice. Listen, you can tell me Waneri's 17, make all the excuses you want in the comment section, fine. Then why has that position not been added to over the last few windows? I'd ask that. Why do we let Fabio Vieira go? But I'll add to that, Zinchenko? I'm not even joking. Someone, fresh legs would have helped. Did nothing. Even Sterling, I don't even care. Odegaard was playing that badly in the last 20, 30 minutes. Maybe a run in behind would have helped.
You could also argue that Martinelli seemed to disappear a bit in the second half.
He did.
So,
But I think they're tiring. I think this is a group that give... the one thing I'll say about these players, sort of, it's quite a personal thing to say. I don't think a lot of them are at the level they need to be. By the way, I think a lot of them absolutely are. Timber, Saliba, Saka, Rice, Partey, Raya. I think they're all at a level to go, and Gabriel, I think they're all at a level to go and lift major trophies for this football club. And then I think there's quite a few that aren't. Or maybe not as first teamers, but maybe as squad players or something, right? But I do think, what was the question you asked? What were you saying? The quality thing. I do think these players leave it all out there and they try. And so it kind of makes me more kind of hurt for them, because I used to look at Arsenal and I used to be angry because I go, you don't give a fuck. You don't care the way we care. And I can't say that about these players. They do. Yeah. They really are leaving it out there. But effort only takes you so far. And I know we like to say talent doesn't win you things, it's hard work. Yeah. But the reality is always be a marriage of the two.
Well, it's as talent doesn't win games when talent doesn't work hard enough.
Well, there you go.
We worked hard enough, but the talent, unfortunately...
Listen, Laurie, if I was on that pitch wearing an Arsenal kit, I'd been signed tomorrow and I was told to try to run my heart off, I'd be absolutely shit. And look, and it's a really facetious, over-the-top way of making the point that how many times is missing chances, but ultimately match-winning quality going to deny us where I feel this group deserves to be for the work they've put in over the years. Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta and the Cronkies have a huge, huge summer, because it's not about just adding these players for the sake of it. You now got to get it right. You've left it so long that actually it's going to be quite unforgiving to get it wrong. You have to get this right. It's a huge window, and of course we will cover it all here.
The message has been sent. Thanks, James.
Thank you, Laurie.